Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess for this season. And for this week, for season 6, week 3, we're going to discuss another one of the elements. We're going to discuss the element of air. This is going to be a little easier than it was to speak on spirit, obviously, because air is an element that it has some more direct associations. It's not as open, abstract, or all-encompassing as spirit is. So this is going to be a lot easier to talk about. Once again, I'm going to be trying to speak a little bit quickly, briefly, concisely, because again, I'm pressed for time. Unfortunately, I have to actually leave to go away for the weekend in just a little bit. So I will be, trying to get to the point, make my point, not linger and babble on. I have some notes with me. That said, yes, we're speaking about air. And air is one of my favorite elements. Maybe it's because, astrologically speaking, I'm an air sign. I'm an Aquarius. And people that are ruled by air signs, generally speaking, they tend to be very much mentally oriented, and that's something I'm going to get into in just a moment. Now, air is an element. Most often, the color that is associative of this element is yellow. Most often, also directionally speaking, most people they would associate air with the east. It's not impossible that there may be people that might have a different directional orientation for this. And the reason why I bring this up is that in, for example, the suits in playing cards or tarot, or even in terms of the elements in themselves, there is some debate in regard to associations relating to fire versus air. What I mean by this is, for example, with the cards, going back to the cards, in my experience, air is associative of wands in the tarot or clubs in the playing cards. But there are some people that find that instead swords are associative of air. Or in terms of playing cards, it would be the spades. So there are some that, because of, just a different intuitive sense for whatever reason, or a different pull, or what have you, different reasons, there are probably some people that may say that air is directionally oriented in the south, and there are some people that may say that fire is directionally oriented in the east, but I'm not going to say that one or the other interpretation is definitively right or wrong, because you know what? I'm a firm believer in go where you're led, and if you are intuitively pulled in a certain direction and that direction works for you, then by all means go that way. I have been reading with the association of air and wands or clubs for a long time, and I have never run into a problem with that. I have always had the orientation of east and air kind of, it just naturally felt correct to me, so that's what I have gone with. So if you feel that you're drawn a certain way and you find that it works for you, as I've said, reading this way with the cards has worked for me. I've never had a problem. Going with that Eastern orientation has never given me a problem. If you find that, the opposite is true for you, then just go where you're led. That's what I suggest. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Okay, air is a yang or masculine oriented element. It's funny, but the elements are balanced. Well, not really funny, but just as there is balance in many things, if not all things, I think probably all things are balanced. The elements are kind of divided half and half. Earth and water are yin, feminine polar, and air and fire are yang, masculine polar. As for what I was talking about earlier about the mental orientation, I find personally that air is associative of mind, thought or thoughts, ideas, creation, creativity, the arts, inspiration, expression, communication, connections, particularly with other people, things as they are conveyed or put forward, how we perceive ourselves or how we perceive others or how we perceive the world. Air has a strong connection with whatever beliefs we tend to hold or our personal paradigms that we subscribe to in terms of our beliefs and our world views. In a nutshell, I would say that air is very much headspace centric. But keep in mind, though, that these associations that I've listed out for you, these are probably not the only associations for air. These are just the ones that kind of come readily to mind for me, no pun intended. And the genre of elemental spirits that are associative of air are sylphs. And as far as I can tell, this is the extent of my notes at this point, but I think what I want to do with this video is maybe try to open up a dialogue. I invite you viewers, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feelings, anything to add perhaps to our discussion in regard to air as an element, I do welcome you to bring any of that forward in the comments below. I would love to engage in discussion, exchange, the sharing of ideas, you know, for not just my growth, but also for yours. And yeah, hopefully we can spark some interesting discussions. You know, maybe we can learn some things from one another. I'm not seeking to debate or try to convince anyone of what is right or wrong per se in terms of associations or correspondences to air. I just thought that in introducing this topic, I would like to invite you all to join our discussion and share what you have to say in regard to air as an element. So do please, you know, make use of the comment box. And with that, I'm going to have to wish you all blessed be and ashe. I'm going to have to wrap up this video. Again, I have a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. So until our next exchange, I recommend that you all stay tuned, watch everyone else's videos. I'm sure a lot of interesting content is going to be brought forth. And you all have a blessed day. And until I see you all again, goodbye for now. You stay awesome.